Hello my gorgeous loves out there and welcome. In today's video we are going to get into a good old palette ranking. I have I think 10 or 11 palettes to go over today, and I'm just going to give you guys my final thoughts and let you know why I ranked them where I did. But before we get into this video, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Bree. I'm a crazy lover of all things beauty. I love to post a lot of fun and colorful makeup content, and I like to do a lot on indie makeup. So if that is what you're into, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. But with that being said, let's get into this video. This is going to be surprisingly an easy ranking for me again, because I feel like the last one wasn't too bad. Normally I struggle at work to put the palettes and I go back and forth, but this time everything just had its place. Now I feel like the two top ones are kind of neck and neck and both could have been number one, but I put them in a spot for the purpose of this video since it is a ranking. But how I do my rankings is I base them on either color story, versatility, quality, how unique it is to my collection, how likely am I to use it, do I gravitate to it, do I not, do I have too much like this, just various things like that. Now I don't really think there's too much of a quality issue with any of the palettes. Maybe some had like a shade here and there that was a little harder to work with, but besides that, they're all really good palettes from brands that I really love. Also, before we do get into this ranking, if you're curious about this eye look, I did film it. I think the video of me putting this look on is going to come up after this one, but I do have the Duality blush palette from Adapt On. I use the purpley tones in here, and then their Unity palette, which I just did like, you know, very smoky kind of monochromatic purpley look. So that video should be coming soon, or like right after this one. But if it's not up already, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I post the video. And if it is already, I'll have it linked, put up in the corner, but most likely this video is going to come up before this one. It's like a 4 palettes, 4 look videos, and those ones take me forever to film. But I think we should now get into the ranking. So at the bottom of the ranking, which I think the real reason this ended up where it's at is because I think overall the palette is a little too light for my liking. If you can see with the look, and if you've been watching me for a while, you know I like deeper tones. I like to go smoky. I love deep saturated shadows in my palettes, and this one just didn't give that to me. And it is the Somone 2 Moonwish palette. I did really like the look I was able to do. You know, every now and then I like to do a nudie, softer kind of look, or something not as like deep or, you know, super intense. So this one does that for me. I did like this like kind of purple, yellow, brownie look, and I thought it was really pretty. But overall, I just don't gravitate to a lot of the shades that are in here. I do love like the blues and the purples, but to me, none of the shades go deep enough for my liking and how I like to do my looks. I always use like a deeper matte on the outer corner. It's very rare that I don't do that. So I have to be in a specific mood for me to want to gravitate towards this palette. And I feel like I already have these blues and purples and other palettes from Uden's Eye and from other brands. So I would most likely go to the palettes that have the deeper tones than to go for this one. Now this brings me to the next palette, which I think the quality is excellent. It's a beautiful palette, but I do feel like the color store is limiting. I can't do as many kind of looks as I would prefer to do, so that is why I put it towards the bottom. But it's the Nomad Fuji 5 Lakes palette. It is so pretty. Like, look at this packaging, A1, and I plan to go to Japan next year, and I'll definitely take this with me. But there's only so much you can do with a very red, blue, and yellow look. Like, you can mix them all together, do some monochromatic stuff as well. But I do wish that there was a little bit more variety in here, and that they didn't just stick to like blue, red, and yellow to match the packaging. Like maybe a matte black would have been nice, but I'm one of the few that really likes having a matte black in the palette so I can deepen things up, because I do feel like these shades are just not deep enough. You know, like they just don't have enough depth and saturation, and I wish that these were more different from one another. And these like shades right here, like I honestly don't think this lighter yellow shade was necessary. Like once you put them on the eyes, they kind of translate the same. And even these blues, I mean, like this is a little deeper. It looks deeper in the pan than what it translates on the eyes, at least in my opinion. And maybe we didn't need this other like shade right here. I just wish that they threw in some other options. Maybe a purple would have been nice, or like a deep orange. I don't know, something, or something like maybe a pink pastel, just to break things up. I just felt like there's not that much I could do with this at the end of the day. I also feel like their shimmers are just not as exciting as other indie brands. They're beautiful, they're sparkly, they're smooth, they're easy to work with and creamy, but they don't have those intense shifts and sparkle and extra pizzazz that I like, but they're still really nice. So that is why it's towards the bottom, because I have indie palettes that are just more interesting according to me. Now going on to the next palette in the ranking, which I'm surprised this is towards the end, but it's the Flutter palette from Ensley Reign Cosmetics. Now, I think it's a really beautiful palette. The shimmers are absolutely stunning, but I always love the shimmers from Ensley Reign, but there was a few things that made this not as high as some of the other palettes I'm going to show you. Now, if I just cover the shade right here, it's a purple green palette. There's not as much variety as I would like in here, and I do feel like the deeper shades in this palette, you have to use them first to get them to show the best on the lids and be most pigmented. So I feel like the deeper shades, once you layer them over like another matte, they kind of dust away. They really do need like a tacky base to cling to have the pigmentation really show. But besides that, I mean, the lighter shades were very pigmented and beautiful, and I mean the metallics, but I do feel like some of the metallics have very similar kind of shifts to them. So I wish that maybe those were a little bit more different from one another. And also it was a pricey palette. Now it is on sale, I think in like the $30 range, and I feel like at $30 it makes it worth it, but I bought this at the, I think it was $55 for this, and I do feel like that was kind of expensive for what you get. So that was another reason why I didn't rank it as higher as some of the other palettes. But I still love it. Don't get me wrong. Ensley Reign has my heart. I do have a code with Ensley Reign, by the way. It is Breezy Beauty. I always forget to mention that when I talk about any of the brands that I have codes with. And they do have a sale. I don't know if my affiliate code will work on top of the sale, but it is there for your use. It is affiliated. But I like to always remind you guys, I always have my codes in the description. Then going on to the next palette, which is also from Ensley Reign. It's the Flourish palette. And this one is the same size as the Flutter palette, but a lot more brighter and intense and like neon-y, which is what I really love. Now I did have some issues with Caligna. It just was another shade that just doesn't do that well over a powder base. It kind of was patchy. I had to work with that one a little bit more because I had gone with another shade to the crease before I went into this one. That's how I knew for the Flutter palette not to do that. But the shimmers are really pretty, but it's also kind of a set color story if you look at it. It's really just like a pink green palette. There's a little bit of yellow in here and a little bit of a purplish tone, but you know, you kind of cover it up and it's really a green pink palette, green pinky orange palette. So it's not as versatile. It doesn't have that many options. I mean, it is a smaller palette, but the shimmers I love, and I love this neon-y shade. And this also was in that $55 range when I bought it, so I do feel like it wasn't necessarily worth the price. Now the price that it's at now, in the $30 range on the sale price, I think it's worth it for that, but not at the $55. Because I don't know why I thought these were going to be cheaper, but I know that their shadows are very expensive to formulate, but it's still a stunning palette. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad one. Now going on to another palette, which is from Unearthly. This is the All I Ever Wanted palette. This is their like revamped version of their All I Ever Wanted, and it's an all shimmer palette. And I do think the shimmers in here are beautiful. They're sparkly. This yellow one too is like intense and super sparkly, but I do feel like overall it didn't have enough variety. I do feel like this shimmer is like pinky, this shimmer is pinky, and this one too has a pinky shift to it. Like pinky purple shifts are really heavy in this palette, and then you have like blues and then some yellow tones and like a red. And I just feel like for the price you don't get enough options, because this was pricey. I think it was like $60 something in here, and it's smaller than the original All I Ever Wanted palette that had a lot more options. It was a bigger palette with tons of different shimmers and different formulas. I just think that the formulas they put in this one were probably more expensive than the ones in the original All I Ever Wanted Volume 1 and Volume 2. I think that's why it's a little smaller, but I actually prefer like the one that I have, which is the Volume 2, over this one. I like the more variety in the colors and formulas. I do feel like these, you know, are more similar. I think maybe there's a holochrome in here and one that's sparkly, or, but I don't know. I just didn't think it was worth as much as it was priced for. And I think I would have been fine just sticking with the All I Ever Wanted palette that I already had. And that's why I put it on the lower end. Usually all shimmer palettes like really rank high, but I don't know. It just, it's nice, but I think I have too much shimmers already like that in my collection, and like all shimmer palettes as well. Then going on to another all shimmer palette, but I ranked this one higher up there because you get more options and it is more affordable. It's the DedeSignature Chromebook Volume 1. If I didn't have some like really colorful, bigger palettes ahead of this one, I think it would have ranked higher, but just based on what it's ranking against made it towards, I guess, the end, or maybe more like in the middle. But look at these shades. Look at all these options. There's a lot of options. You get more shades and it's cheaper than the Unearthly one. Now the shifts on these ones are not as intense as maybe some of the ones in the All I Ever Wanted, but I still think they're beautiful and stunning and sparkly. And at the end of the day, I really care about how vibrant and how many color options I have than necessarily it having like the most intense shift. And the quality is excellent for the price you pay. Like you get really high quality, beautiful metallics for a more affordable price. Isn't this like $39 or $35? I don't know the exact price. I'll put it up in the screen, but you get all these beautiful shades and you have so many options in here. Like look at this. So many beautiful shades to choose from pinks to greens to purples to some nudie tones, a minty moment. This Snowy Hooves one has a beautiful intense pink shift. Like I love this. I actually took this with me when I went to New York and California with the blends palette from Blend Bunny. It's like perfect little combo to create a bunch of different looks. So we're getting into now the Calavera palette from Gourmande Girls. Now I did mention this in a Halloween palette ranking, but I didn't do it in one of these kind of videos where I ranked it against other palettes I tried. So that's why you're seeing it again. But this one is beautiful. It's very colorful. And it is more matte heavy. Now, if they had more shimmers, I think this would have ranked up higher because the shimmers in here are so stunning. Like these two are gorgeous. I mean, all of the shimmers are really pretty in here. And I thought the mattes were really nice in here, especially the lighter shades. They're pigmented and vibrant. I do feel like they've improved their matte formula a lot. And you have just all these options in here, and it's just so much variety. And I think this was like in the $40 range, and you get like a lot of different shades to choose from. You can create so many different looks with this, and overall I was really impressed by this one. It's a really nice one and I really enjoyed it. And I love Gourmande Girls. I think they make beautiful palettes. I also like the theme, the representation by it, and these shimmers. These shimmers, they get me every time when I look at that. So that is why it is above the other ones. And then we're going into a nudie palette, but it's because of the quality and how beautiful the shades are that I ranked it pretty high up there. And it's the Cold Moon palette from Ensley Reign. So Ensley Reign is redeeming themselves in this ranking with these other ones that I want to show you, because I have another one. Yeah, another one from Ensley Reign. So this one leans more cool and nudie, but oh my gosh, the formula in here, especially with the shimmers. There's so many beautiful sparkly tones in here. They're like sparkly, there's holochromes, there's shifty goodness, just really intense foiled metallics in here. And lately these days, I've been appreciating a more nudie look. It's making me feel glamorous and sexy when I wear something a little nude. And I love that it leans cool tones, because if I'm gonna go for nudes, I like cool tone nudes more than warm tone nudes. Like that is my go-to. I think cool tones just look better on my skin tone, and it's just my preference. So I really did like the grayish tones, the mauves, paired with these beautiful sparkly shades. The only thing I do wish is there was one deeper shade in here, because I do feel like these ones right here don't go deep enough. Like a really, really deep charcoal or deep black or a super deep purple would have been stunning in here. It would have made it perfect, but I still think it's really pretty, and it will probably be one of my go-to cool tone nudie palettes going forward, because that's how much I love the formula in there. Then we're going on to another Ensley Reign palette. We're at number 3 in the ranking, and it's the Flower Moon palette. It's super colorful. That's why I put it up there, and it's a shimmer heavy palette, and I love that. And it's paired with like grungy mattes and colorful shades. So of course this was gonna end up pretty high up there. I think you could just create so many different looks. You can go green, you can go pink, you can go orange. You can even like use this shade right here and go into the blues and do something really, you know, blue as well. I thought the mattes were really nice in here, and I adore these shimmers so much. It has like grunge and color and tons of shimmers. Like that's always going to get me excited and put something high up there in a ranking if it has all of these kind of qualities to them and an excellent formula. And I think that this was worth more for the money than like the smaller palettes. I think this is like $69, and you get all of this, like way more shade options and all these stunning sparkly shades. Breathtaking Ensley Reign. I swear they win it when it comes to their metallic formula. And then we're going on to number 2 in the ranking. This is where it was tricky for me because these are interchangeable, but I'll explain why I put one ahead of the other. But number 2 is the Strange and Unusual palette, which this one was number 1 in my Halloween palette ranking. But like I just said with the Calavera, one, I had to include this in my ranking for recent palettes. This one, stunning, breathtaking. Amazing shimmers. This is from Beaute Bar, by the way. And this neon shade, oh, it's so pigmented, as well as this matte white and these grungy tones. But I think it's this shade and the shimmers that really just take my breath away every time I use it. The look I was able to create was so intense, and that green right here was like the inner corner pop. I just felt so striking in that look with this palette, and I did a couple more looks like off camera, just like doing stuff on my own errands, you know, off camera, and I loved it. I think you can just do a good amount of things. You can go red and orange, you can go purpley, you can go greeny, you can go grungy, warm or cool tone, and then you have all these beautiful metallics. And that's why I ended up being like number 1 against all of my Halloween palettes, because I was just so impressed by the metallics in here and that neon shade and the matte white. But Beaute Bar has really stepped up their matte formula. I already thought their shimmers were beautiful, and they've even improved those, but their mattes are on another level now in terms of pigmentation and just performance. They're just so good. So they have an amazing matte formula and an amazing metallic formula now. It's like, wow. Amazing. Now this is a pricier palette, and it is in the $60 range, but for what you get, I think it's worth it. And they're having a sale right now for, I think, 25% off on their site. I don't know if this video will get up in time, which it probably will for Black Friday, since we're on Thanksgiving week, so you can get a discount on this if it's still available. Hopefully it's still in stock. I do also have a code with Beaute Bar, and I think it's Breezy Beauty. I'm not sure if the code will stack with the existing discount. If you have to put in a code for the sale, then I don't think it will, but if you don't, like the prices of the palettes are already discounted, you might be able to, but it's there for your use if you want to get anything from Beaute Bar. And of course it is affiliated. I will get, you know, a small kickback if you use it, but if you do, thank you, but no pressure. And then number 1 on the ranking is the Harvest of Souls palette from Fantasy Cosmetica, and this was my first time trying the brand, and I was thoroughly impressed by this palette. I adore this color story. I love the formula. The mattes are beautiful. The metallics are stunning. I think there's a holochrome in here, some shifty shades, an intense sparkly one. You guys see like color and intense metallics are always gonna pull me in, and it does have like that fun pop right here. This is more of a pastel than like a neon than the Strange and Unusual one, and I do feel like this color story is similar to the Strange and Unusual palette. I might have compared them, I don't know if I did, but there's a similar kind of vibe with the greens, the purples, some blue shifty tones, and some grunge. But the reason why I put this over this one is because I think that this one is a little bit more affordable compared to the Strange and Unusual one, because I think that's in the $60 range. I think this was like $45. hopefully I'm not getting the pricing mixed up, but I know that this was a little bit cheaper, and that's why I put it up higher, because I thought the quality in both were equally on par with one another. I thought the shimmers were just as good in this one as the Strange and Unusual one, the color stories being similar. So I had to find a reason which one should be above the other, and it was the price at the end of the day. But the quality is excellent in here, and I can't wait to try more things from Fantasy Cosmetica. They also have their Black Friday sale going on. I mean, I think all these brands are doing sales. If I can remember them, I'll include them or something in the description. But yes, I love it, and I definitely can't wait to see what they come out with in the future, because I do feel like their existing palettes, none of them really pull me in, and I think they were all smaller, but hopefully they'll come out with some more bigger palettes, because if they do, I'm sure I will pick up some more from this brand, because I really did enjoy that palette so much. So that was everything for this ranking. All the palettes that I've tried in the past couple of months, that I've taken on trips with me, used on my own for date nights for various reasons, and I think they're all pretty, and I love having them all in my collection. But you guys will now have to let me know, what are your thoughts in the comments below? Would you purchase any of these? Did you pass? Do you have different thoughts on this ranking? Would you put palettes in different places? I would love to hear from all of y'all. And if you're new here and you enjoy this video, you like a lot of fun and colorful makeup content, you like a lot on indie makeup and all that good stuff, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. I would love to have you here. Also, don't forget to check out the description below. I will have all the palettes linked, all the videos that I've done using any of these palettes if you want to see them in action, see some looks with them. I will also have my makeup linked, my everything foundation and all of that. The palettes that I use, like I said, a video will be coming very soon with these products, and all that will be there for you. And I will have my contact and my social media platforms. I'm also on Instagram as Breezy Lifestyle and Breezy_beauty. So if you want to join my Instagram fam, I would really love. But that was everything for this video, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me for a bit, for watching, for supporting my channel. I just appreciate you guys all so much, and I just hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday season so far, and just sending you all so much light and love. But until next time, bye guys.